at where the markets did close the trading day today, we had another record close for the Dow Jones Industrial Average, being driven higher by broad-based strength across sectors, industrials, financials, as well as consumer discretionary, moving the Dow higher. We had JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, Estee Lauder, as well as Caterpillar, all up by about 2%. Now, at the same time, it actually was a little bit quiet underneath the surface, specifically when we take a look at the S&P 500, which did trade in negative territory ever so slightly. It was essentially unchanged on the day. And we did see volumes down by about 21% versus the 30-day average. Now, why might that be happening? Likely because that U.S. 10-year yield hit that 1.3% mark. It's causing investors to say and sit on the sidelines wondering how far and fast the rate environment will move and what that might mean and do to valuations. So just be aware of that. We've been talking a lot about it, and we will continue to do so, I believe. Away from that, we are also, of course, keeping our eyes on the price of WTI, which hit $60 today. Of course, we've got the deep freeze in the United States putting some pressure on the supply front. We've got some of the freezing of wells and pipelines, as well as wind turbines, all causing some of these energy stocks to move higher to the tune of 3%. In Canada, you can take a look at a few nat gas names that really also moved higher. Kelt Exploration, I should say, Nuvista, Tourmaline, Birchcliff, as well as Seven Generations. Those stocks were all up nicely today. And in the United States, just a couple to take a look at on the oil front. You've got Chevron as well as Exxon that were also all moving up higher on the day. Away from that, we want to also keep our eyes, of course, on what we're seeing in the cryptocurrency world. We saw Bitcoin hit 50,000. For the first time, and that, of course, helped the QBTC, that fund I keep talking about, move higher as well. And also, when we think about where we go from here, we want to keep our eyes on the economic data. Interestingly, we did have the New York Empire manufacturing data come in higher than expectations, 8 months consecutive moves higher in a row, and actually the best number we've seen in 2020. So that's obviously a positive as it relates to that reopening trade. Speaking of which, we actually got some attention towards those movie theater chains today. Interestingly, IMAX has 20% exposure to China, and the China ticket sales were up by about 33% versus 2019. So if we're thinking about reopening and getting to the other side, that might be one area to continue to look at. Speaking of which, you also might want to continue to take a look at what's going on or what will go on in consumer discretionary. The XRT, which is the ETF I take a look at in the United States, representing retail stocks, up by about 80% over the past year. And there has been some research from various strategists saying that households have probably accumulated, this is in the United States, $1.5 trillion in excess savings. That obviously will help the GDP going forward, but also you could see a lot of that money being put to work in consumer discretionary names. So that might be another area to take a look at. Lastly, when we think of a few stocks to watch, I'd keep your eyes on Google. Loop Capital gave that a $2,525 price target today, about 18% upside from yesterday's closing price. And also here in Canada, Constellation Software, good earnings there, sending that stock up by over 3%. Certainly a lot to discuss for sure. And we will keep our eyes on Shopify. They're going to be reporting their most recent results tomorrow, so we'll have that for you as well. Have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow.